listen, mount up.
Oh, come on! Oh, no! Oh!
Check for pulse.
You have got to be kidding me! Come on!
Well, can you believe it? We're actually doing it. We're back. Back where it all began. The birthplace of the Crankworx World Tour. I'm talking about none other than Whistler, British Columbia. I'll tell you what, after missing this event in 2020 and 2021, it's so nostalgic to finally be back here in 2022. And we are so grateful to be able to do our thing here on the traditional and ancestral territories of the Squamish and Lil'wat First Nations. It's the sights, it's the smells, it's the whole package that we know and love about Crankworx Whistler. I'm your host. My name's Cam McCall, and I'm hanging out right here with Alan Cook. And today it's all about Specialized Dual Slalom Whistler. We've got a pretty killer track lined up and some of the best racers in the world.
Yeah, watching some of the earlier rounds, the guys and girls, they're going so fast and so on the edge. It's going to be an exciting race. These first matchups that we're going to come into, it's going to be like a final every round. It's going to be super exciting.
So if you missed us in Innsbruck and you haven't heard this little tidbit of information, I'm going to let you in on a little scoop here. It's a 4-stop world tour for 2022. We already competed in beautiful Innsbruck, Austria. What a great event that was to kick off the tour. Now we're in Whistler, BC, the place we know and love. We're going to do something a little bit different there. We're cruising all the way down to the southern hemisphere, Cairns, Australia, for our third stop. The past few years, we've only had 3 stops, but we're doing 4 full stops this year. We're finishing it off in Rotorua, New Zealand. And what that really does is, especially for things like slopestyle, where there's the Triple Crown up for grabs, you can have a throwaway event. But for the overall, the king and queen, it plays into that as well because there's so many more points up for grabs with 4 stops.
Yeah, it just adds to the level of excitement. You know, I think more opportunities gives people the chance to send it a little harder. They know they're going to have the opportunity to make up some points if they need to. So I think the level of competition with more events is gonna naturally rise.
Yeah, so that's the tour. The season is very young, but it's all about Whistler right here. And this may be our first broadcast of Crankworx Whistler 2022, but it's not our first event. We had a classic race last night, the Whistler Air DH. We gave away some points for that one. We're seeing some highlights on screen right here. Look at that. A familiar face out there, Mick Hannah, doing what he does best, and that is going faster than everybody else down the hill. When everything was said and done, Mick Hannah took the win for the men, and Vaea Verbeek took the win for the women. And that really shook up the King standings. We didn't even have Mick Hannah anywhere close to the top before that race. And take a look at where he's sitting right now, right underneath Bas Van Steenbergen, who's leading it out with 177 points.
Yeah, not a bad retirement plan for Mick. He comes out and I believe in Innsbruck, podiumed on a trail bike, got himself on the leaderboard, and winning Air DH yesterday. He's got a chance. Baz is up there, but it's going to be a fight all the way to the end.
And we got somebody down there in 5th, Thomas Lemoyne. Obviously, he's a guy you're going to look forward to seeing get some points in speed and style and in slope style. But let's talk about the queen overall standings right now, because we saw a shift in those after Air DH as well. Familiar names up at the top. Your reigning queen from the 2019 season, Vaea Verbeek. Quite a good lead there over Caroline Buchanan.
Yeah, it's a good lead, but what we were saying before, it's a long season, and all of those women right behind her, they're going to be chomping at the bit, and there's so many opportunities throughout the rest of the season. This week here in Whistler, it's going to be an amazing season.
Opportunities for the riders to get points out there, but we want to get you involved as well. So here's your opportunity to feed us some questions. If you're watching the broadcast right now on YouTube, write your questions, anything you're curious about in the comments there, or use the hashtag CrankworxFromHome. Feed us your questions. One that we've received already is this. For dual slalom, if you could choose only one of these strengths, would you choose power or precision? Let's talk about this specific dual slalom race we have today.
Yeah, that's a tough one, Cam. I mean, both things are very important, but I think with this track and the way that it was looking in the earlier rounds and the way that it's riding, I think precision is going to be key for this. Towards the end of the track here, it tightens up a little bit, so power can really kind of push you over the edge. We saw some mistakes early on the rounds. So, yeah, I would definitely be with precision on this track.
I'd love to disagree with you because it would give us more to talk about, but I have to agree. No matter how much power you have, if you're putting that power in the wrong direction, it's not going to go well for anybody. And you talk about this course. We did watch the round of 32 for the men and the round of 16 for the women. And, you know, the round of 16 for the men as well. We saw a lot of crazy crashes, so that, you know, I think you're going with the right choice there. Precision is so important on this track. So we talked about the fact that we've already boiled the field down to the round of 8. Let's take a look back at some highlights from the round of 16 here for the women. Cassie Voicey going up against Vaea Verbeek.
Yeah, you see Vaea, our #1 qualifier and the winner of last night's Air DH, coming through that first round, no problem. She's looking really strong today.
Vaea Verbeek with that #1 next to her name. A little bit interesting scenario with her knee. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But right now, this was the heat between Keelani Hines, the #9 qualifier, and Caroline Buchanan, #8 qualifier. Tight race.
Yeah, this is an insanely tight race. A couple of riders that we might see in a final at certain times. But, you know, that's the way it's going. The level of competition and the riders' skills, they're pushing these guys so early.
So great to have Caroline Buchanan back doing a full Crankworx season. Now, this heat, Harriet Burbidge-Smith has going up against Paula Zibasa.
Yeah, Paula coming out of Innsbruck local, just missing the cut there. Really pushing Harriet all the way to the end.
So Has looking very strong. She'll be going up against Danielle Beecroft, you can see in our heat #3. Beecroft, something to note. She won in 2018 on a downhill bike, which is not the bike you would typically see win a dual slalom race. What bike is she riding today?
She's riding a downhill bike, a 29-inch wheeled downhill bike nonetheless.
So, Beecroft, the #3 qualifier. When she did win it in 2018, 2017, sorry, she beat Jill Kintner. So we know that even though she may not be the #1 qualifier out there, she knows how to make that downhill bike work for her on slalom. And would you say this is a slalom course that would lend itself to the benefits of a downhill bike?
I do, for sure, especially the bigger wheels, the softer tires, more suspension. I think that's going to make that precision we're talking about a little bit easier to get.
Some of those gravel pits in this course, at first glance, we thought, you know, they were kind of accidental, but we see they're actually designing those just to kind of throw a wrench in these runs, make it that much more challenging, and it really made for some interesting racings in the preliminaries.
Yeah, getting a look at our course right here. You can see it all the way down. There's a few squirrel catchers in there. Look for those gravel pits. That's where the bike choice is really going to come into play. We have all sorts of different bikes out here. 26-inch, 27-inch, 29-inch wheels, downhill bikes, slopestyle bikes. You know, this course, I can't really say what one is going to be specifically the best, but, you know, time's going to tell when these racers get on the track.
Well, you can see right there from that FPV drone perspective, there's a whole lot of opportunities to slide out there, but also some of the exit speed we've seen in the preliminaries out of some of those rocket ship berms. It really does kind of check all the boxes for things that you need in a dual slalom course. Well, this is a specialized dual slalom whistler. We've got our first heat loaded up into the gate. Your #1 qualifier for the women, Vaea Verbeek, going up against the #8 qualifier who's on fire today, Caroline Buchanan.
Yeah, this is going to be an awesome heat right here. Look for Caroline strong out of the gate, and then Vaea coming down the end using all of her downhill skills and all of her mountain bike skills towards the end on these slippery turns. This is going to be an amazing heat. Let's watch this.
So Vaea Verbeek with a lot of momentum behind her right now after last night's Air DH win. The gate is dropped.
So Caroline hard out of the gate, strong. That's with the power. And let's see where she can bring that precision. They're side by side coming into the third turn, looking great. You can see that the track's got a little bit of water on it. It's been hot up here in Whistler, so it's a little bit slippery. And this is where the track tightens up, and Vaea just noses ahead of her coming into these final tighter turns. Let's see what she can manage.
Vaea Verbeek letting that rear tire dance out in that final straightaway. She crosses the finish line first by 0.37. So Vaea Verbeek backing up that #1 qualification with the advantage going into the second run here in heat #1. The round of 8. Let's take a look back at some replays.
Yeah, you can see him coming down right there where that course really tightens up. Vaea sliding around, drifting both tires around the turn. just a quick reminder, you know, that Caroline's not out. You know, she's going to get an opportunity on the other side, and it's a combined time, so it's not over yet. It's going to be some super tight racing.
Dual slalom racing, if you're new to it, they each get a run on each side. The rider with the lowest combined time, fastest combined time, moves into the next bracket. So this is the round of 8. All these riders are hoping to make it into the round of 4. We will continue to chop the field in half until we have a winner. Right now, Martha Gill out of Great Britain going up against Louise Ferguson, her fellow countrymate.
Gate drops down, both riders out pretty much side by side. Let's see how they can bring this down the track. Martha with a slight advantage on the white. And then you can see Louise catching right back up. So they're side by side, and this is where it gets interesting. Watch Martha when they come into this turn. They're going to tighten up and be side by side all the way to the finish on those tight, loose turns. Let's see who can pull it off.
They're going to be close to the finish line here. Louise will cross first by about a half a second. What a tight matchup there, you know. Looking at those qualification rankings, 5th and 4th, you knew that was going to be a tight one. Only a half a second separate those two for their second run. As we work our way back up to the top of the course there, left side of your screen, Danny Beecroft running that downhill bike. It's something that worked well for her. It was 2018 when she took the win here in Whistler. So history has a tendency to repeat itself. Is that what Danielle Beecroft is leaning on right now? Take a look back to 2018. Here's how she did it, going up against the most formidable of opponents, Jill Kintner. She was the reigning queen of Crankworx at that moment.
Yeah, I think even this season she ended up pulling it off again. So you can see here, even though Beecroft came across the line in second, she had a bigger advantage from run 1 and was able to take the win here in Whistler.
That was quite the upset at the time. And we've seen Danny Beecroft grab that downhill bike a couple times in the past couple years, but I think if it's going to work again, it's going to work here in Whistler. There's something about the terrain of this slalom course. But Harriet Burbridge-Smith has number 6 qualifier, is going to make her earn it. Here we go.
Yeah, 2 completely different bikes, 2 completely different riding styles. Let's see how this shapes up. That 29-inch wheel on the downhill bike is going to give a little bit bigger contact patch on the ground, so a little more traction, a little more precision, but maybe not quite as fast out of the turn. So you can see Harriet starting to pull away a little bit in the pedal sections. Let's see if Beecroft can pull it back here towards the end. Coming into that turn, getting a little loose, just making it around. That's a super tight race.
Tight race is right. Just a 1/10 of a second. It has crossed the zone. All right. Yeah, she did. So .1. Harriet Burbridge-Smith just leaning on the advantages of her chosen steed there, getting a couple extra cranks out of the berm. Talk about how much more difficult it is to get a downhill bike up to speed when you're exiting those berms. You need to just kind of juice a little bit more to try to keep ahead of your opponent.
Yeah, I mean, it's like basically a diesel truck, right? Like all the power, it's going to get through everything, but takes a little bit of time to get up to speed. But once it is up to speed, you can see Danny's really pulling it around the turns, and she's right behind her. One thing to note, this course, I can't really say which track is faster. It seems like the white side is maybe a little bit of an advantage at the top, but then it tightens back up down at the bottom. So really, it's any racer's race, no matter what course they're on.
I have a feeling we're going to be able to really figure out which course is faster as things progress here. But look at who we have up in the gate right now. We talked to Jordy Scott earlier about slalom racing. She had this to say.
Yeah, slalom was really hard for me. I'm just now getting to the point where I'm like consistently qualifying in the top 5, and like I still haven't podiumed in slalom yet. So that's a goal that I'm really trying to reach this year.
So Jordy Scott, the 2nd place qualifier, if she's going to pull out a podium today, would be a good day to do it. She's obviously very well on this course. She's going up against Amy Morrison, the number 10 qualifier. America versus America here. Now, Jordy Scott, definitely somebody we talk about when it comes to another discipline within the Crankworx World Tour, speed and style. Jordy Scott, not afraid to go upside down, not afraid to go fast either. The only thing that matters today in slalom is getting to the bottom of that course faster than your opponent. So Let's see if she has what it takes to finally get a podium here in dual slalom.
It's going to be a long week here. You know she's looking forward to that speed and style, maybe defending that 2021 Innsbruck title. But right now it's slalom, and she's got the gate. She's got the advantage coming down the course. Let's see if she can hold it together. Styling it out, looking really comfortable out there. Commanding lead, just keeping it calm. And now this is where the mental side comes in. You know, you don't see your opponent. You're kind of out there racing yourself. It's easy to override. So Jordy really just managing that lead and getting down really, really smooth. That was an amazing run.
That's where that white lane catches up too. So if you have a good advantage right there, that's really where you got to worry about getting the old sneak attack, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even though this course is one of our longer slalom courses, it's full on. There's no holding back. There's no time to rest. There's no time to recover. It's 100% from top to bottom. Yeah, looking super comfortable over the gap jump right there. Let's take a look at the bracket, Cam.
So after dropping each of these heats for their first of 2 runs, we're going to have one rider with the advantage and one rider trying to claw their way back up. We've got Vaea Verbeek leading out Caroline Buchanan. Louise Ferguson ahead of Gil Has, ahead of Beecroft, and Jordy Scott ahead of Amy Morrison. So we're going to get into the men right now, and we've got some interesting circumstances playing out. One of them I want to talk about is our #1 qualifier, a guy who has had 2nd place at Crankworx Slalom, but hasn't got onto the top step of that podium yet. Do you think today is Austin Warren's day?
I do think it's his day. You know, I think coming out qualifying first, that's something a little bit new for him, but he's always right there, and I think something's clicked for him on this track. I don't know what it is exactly, but he's looking super strong, and if I was a betting man, I think my money would be on Bubba.
Well, let's see who he's going up against today. We're going to go back to some highlights from the round of 16 in the men's category. We're going to kick things off with the matchup between Bas Van Steenbergen and Kyle Straight. We say this all the time, but this could have been a final.
Yeah, this had to have been a final a couple of times. You could see Bas there sort of lip sliding that berm, losing his pedal, and was able to come back. He had a 0.3 advantage and was just able to hold on to it. Kyle was just shy of that. But you can see him there shaking his head. And he knows he's got to pull it together because these rounds are only going to get tighter and tighter as we go on.
And then this guy right here, Jackson Goldstone. When we first saw this, we were wondering, what did he give up? Misgame for Jackson Goldstone. The max differential here in dual slalom racing is 1.5. That's what he was trying to get out from under here on the second run. He almost did it, huh?
Yeah, look at the speed out of those turns. He was holding nothing back, was only able to claw back 1.2, but that shows you, even if you have that 1.5 max, it's still possible.
So Jackson Goldstone out of the race there, the hometown boy, leaving it open for the rest. Jackson was the 3rd place qualifier, so leaving the door open for guys like Jackson Frew and Kai Ahern. Jackson Frew looking so strong out there today. He's going to be going up against Gilchrist, who we'll get more to that later here. But Joey Foresta, 100% coming into his own, right? Going up against a legend here, Sam Blanketsop.
Yeah, a couple of different generations right here, maybe passing the torch a little bit. Sam looking so good coming down the track, but Joey just that little bit faster, so it's going to be exciting to see how he can carry that through the rest of the heats.
So Joey Foresta makes it out of that heat there, but look who he's going up against.
Yeah, the #2 qualifier, Mr. Mick Hannah, on his retirement program. You got to be careful when Mick's got his speed up. He still goes fast.
This is what Mick says. He's saying, listen, everybody, I said I'm retiring from World Cup downhill. I didn't say I wasn't going to still come out and whoop all you at Crankworx.
Yeah, I think competing on bikes is going to be a lifelong venture for Mick. We're lucky to see it.
There's a guy we started out talking about there, Austin Warren, the #1 qualifier today, going up against Bernard Kerr, a guy who has been on fire on the World Cup downhill circuit right now, the #9 qualifier.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good heat right here. Those guys are looking side by side. Austin coming in, he's going to have to stay confident, but he's going to, he can't hold back. Bernard's going to be giving it 110%. Watch, this is where the white course catches up a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see how they come down. Looks like Bubba's got a slight disadvantage. Okay. That's going to be tough to overcome.
To go back to that whole power versus precision thing, Bernard is riding with so much power right now. You got to have the precision to back it up, or else you're going off track. And Bernard almost loses traction in the back tire here. We're going to take a look back. Take a look at Bernard on the right side of your screen.
Yeah, just barely hooking up there, sliding around. He's got confidence on his side on the podium at the last 2 World Cups, so let's see what he can do.
Because you know you have to stay consistent.
Yeah, I know. Nowadays. Yeah, good job.
Kind of fun to listen in and see what they're saying to each other before they head back up for another run. We got a bit to talk about here. This is interesting. Adrian Larone, 12th place qualifier, a little bit lower qualification than we would expect from Adrian Larone, so consistent on the tour, going up against Bas Van Steenbergen. We just saw that highlight of him knocking Kyle straight out of the competition. Bas Van Steenbergen got a perfect slalom setup today. Let's check out the Max's bike check for Bas Van Steenbergen.
Hey, I'm Bas Van Steenbergen, and this is my Max's bike check. Sweet, so I am running the DHF front and rear. It's just kind of a setup that I run super often, and kind of knowing what the tire is going to do is super important to me, and these tires roll fast but still hook up a lot. I run EXO casing front and rear to keep it light. I do run a tube in the back to make it roll a little bit less and just make it feel a little stiffer. I run 33 PSI in the back and 30 in the front, and that's kind of the happy medium that I like to run. It still hooks up in the corners, but still rolls really fast. Thank you, this is my Max's bike check, and yeah, we'll see you on the track.
Well, the setup seems to be working for our current leader of the King of Crankworx overall standings there, Bas Van Steenbergen. Not far from home here, the Kelowna resident. Here we go, number 4 qualifier, Bas Van Steenbergen going up against Adrian Larone.
Bas, the current leader of the King of Crankworx, snaps out hard. Just coming off that last run, barely making it through, so you know he's got something to prove not only to the crowd but also to himself. Look how fast and smooth he's going, pumping every transition for what he's got. That's one of the most amazing things about these guys, is they're accelerating through every turn, over every jump, whether they're pedaling or not. Look at Bas coming down, looking unbelievably strong.
That run for Bas was just flawless. He does so much on the bike. He's fitting in so many more like mechanical body movements than most riders, and it all just boils down to efficiency. That bike is placed exactly where it needs to be in every spot on the course. Let's take a look back.
Yeah, you can see the confidence is really coming through. I mean, at that point when he's that comfortable, everything's moving in slow motion and he's just doing all the right things. I mean, that was an amazing run by Adrian as well. Look at the speed he's bringing through these turns, pedaling in and out of them. Just not quite enough to match Bas's speed and power.
Yeah, you know, I think this is a course that really does play to the strengths of Bas Van Steenbergen. So it's going to be interesting to see how far he goes today. And I mean, Adrian Larone's such a fast racer and just doing everything he can right there to try to keep up to Bas. Adrian still has a chance once we get them back up to the top and switch sides. We got Jackson Frew going up against Gilchrist right now, and Gilchrist definitely slaying some dragons in qualifying, or in the round of 16, I should say. Jackson Frew, we're going to be coming to you in Australia in October. We're going to be seeing him at the whip-off, at the pump track, and the downhill. Really looking forward to the downhill, but he's been racking up some insane results the past 2 seasons here. On the podium a handful of times, getting to be a name that we're consistently talking about on the Crankworx World Tour.
Yeah, Jackson really finding his groove here at the Crankworx Festival. So many different events. Really shows the overall skill level on these bikes. So the gate's going to drop down. Let's see how it goes. Jackson with a slight advantage coming out of the gate, but they are side by side. Ryan pulling back some time. Look at Jackson launching down into that turn, able to hook up the tires and accelerate straight through, gaining that lead right back. But it's not over. They're going to tighten up right here.
Oh, look at Ryan Gilchrist hanging on by a thread.
How did he hang on to those last 3 turns? Both tires drifting side to side. That looked like fun.
That did look like fun. I mean, the most fun moments in mountain biking, aren't they, when you think you're crashing and then you save it? That's kind of why we ride, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So Ryan Gilchrist, he benefited from that missed gate earlier on from Jackson Goldstone. Now we got Jackson Frew, a day of Jacksons for Gilchrist, but look at Frew just flying by our camera there.
Yeah, pumping out of that turn, and they tighten right up, basically even, and then watch right here, the triple drift through the rock garden, just making that gate, able to stay alive, avoid that 1.5 max differential, and he's got a chance to move on in the next round. It's not over.
You know, we saw something crazier in the earlier rounds where, you know, the last gate is quite technical, and there's off-camber gravel there. We've seen people crash and make it through without even losing that much time because the timing light is right there. Let's listen in.
You get called a DSQ and maximum time differential of 1.5 seconds.
Sounds like maybe we're having a look to see, make sure everybody got around all the gates.
Rallying the bike around.
I love the eavesdropping we get to do at the finish line corral. All right, so moving things on to Joey Foresta, and I don't know, you may have heard of this guy, Mick Hannah. He's the number 2 qualifier today. He won the air downhill yesterday. He's been doing this for a long, long time. And he's not slowing down. Don't expect him to slow down in this matchup because Joey Foresta has been on fire. Foresta knocked out Sam Blankensop to make it here into this round of 8 matchup against the number 2 qualifier. I think this is going to be a good one, Alan.
Yeah, for sure. You can see Mick riding high on that air DH win yesterday. Obviously coming in second, fastest qualifier. He's got medals in UCI cycling events from BMX to downhill. He's won multiple slaloms. This is going to be a good run.
Look at him wind up, rolling the wrist forward. Oh, man, the snap from Foresta.
Yeah, Foresta's been putting in the time, you can tell. Slalom is really a focus of some of these riders where they have tracks at home. But Mick's going to lay it down. He's going to give him everything he's got. This is not going to be an easy one.
Look at nose press from Mick.
Yeah, pushing down, getting a little speed, winding it up. Here they come. Oh, Mick.
Man, just barely. Just look at that. We say just barely. Now we have the stats to back that up. 0.02 of a second, about as close to a tie as you can get. Wow, way to go, Joey.
Funny, we were talking about precision versus power. I think this is a very, very good explanation of the differences of those two things, with Foresta having that precision and Mick really having that power, just charging through the turns, muscling it through. One of the most impressive things in this run that I saw from Mick was the last 3 pedals, where most people are just hanging on, trying to get around that last gate. He's pedaling and accelerating all the way through the finish line, which is keeping this race so tight. Here it comes right here. You watch. Right there, he lays down 3 hard cranks, and you can see him accelerate and catch back up right there. So it's going to be tight. It's no guarantee winner on this one in the end.
Yeah, I cannot wait to send them back up to the top of the course. But before that, we got an opportunity to talk with Mick. So, Mick, being a veteran in the mountain bike racing community out here, I feel like in the younger years, coming out to race the morning after, the day after you just had a big win, in your younger years, it's kind of something that comes with pressure and a little bit, you know, being overwhelmed. What's it like doing that now as, I don't know, a better way to put it, but, you know, an older guy out there, a veteran? Is it a little bit different now than it was back then?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was younger, I just couldn't believe I was here. So now it's like, I kind of still can't believe I'm here. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. And starting off the week with a win is just amazing. And coming into Dual Slalom, which is one of my favorite events, it's just a great feeling.
So A-Line's obviously a classic race that we would expect you to compete in. And I'm sure the fans were loud yesterday. Just in general, what's it like, the atmosphere, actually being back in Whistler now after not really knowing if we'd ever be back here for Crankworx?
Yeah, being back here in Whistler for Crankworx is amazing. It's such a cool atmosphere, so many people here. A lot of them watching and enjoying the racing, and a lot of them just here enjoying their bikes like we are. So it's a fun place to be, and I'm glad we're getting back to normal a little bit.
That's right. Good show out there, Mick. Thanks a lot, and good luck for the rest of the race.
Thank you.
Good stuff there from Sick Mick Hannah. Always a fan favorite. And it's going to be great to see him just keep adding points to that King Crankworx overall, right? I feel like this is about the time we got to start applying the pure pressure to get him to do pump track tomorrow. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, we're going to be going back to Cairns, where Mick's from. Mick's won a couple of medals in that same venue in World Champs Downhill. So he's had success. He's looking forward to that race. You know he's going to be giving it everything in front of the local fans.
If you're a Mick Hannah fan, 2022 is a good year.
Oh, yeah.
is on fire. We're coming to his original stomping grounds. Good stuff. All right, back to the women here. Second run in our round of 8. We nicknamed that the quarterfinals. First up in the gate, we're going to have Vaea Verbeek with a 0.3 advantage over Caroline Buchanan. So if you've been following Vaea Verbeek, for all those Vaea Verbeek fans out there, you know she's been battling a torn ACL. We caught up with her about how that injury is going.
Coming into Whistler, not having to start from zero is definitely a plus. But then again, I think the strategy hasn't changed. Like, my knee is better on the day-to-day, like walking and whatnot, but riding, just a week ago, I feel like I hurt it, and it's been grumpy with me. So my knee is my boss, and again, same tactic as Innsbruck. I'll take it day by day and see how it goes. It paid off for Innsbruck, so hopefully it pays off here too.
Well, that was an interview taken before she won the air downhill, so it seems like it's working, right?
Yeah, she's definitely keyed into it. You can hear when she's talking. She's listening to her body. She's not pushing it. She's doing what she needs to do. Fastest qualifier here. She's got the advantage in this round. Let's see what she can do.
All right. 0.3 to play with here for Vaea Verbeek. Caroline Buchanan, seeing if she can do what it takes to knock her out. Oh, a little inside there for Vaea.
Yeah, a little inside. Just every little tenth or thousandth counts, you know. But you got to be precise, like we were talking about earlier. A little too low in the turns, and you're going to wash out. She's carrying that advantage, kind of just keeping Caroline in her peripheral, so she knows she's got it, no problem. Advancing on to the next round, so she's keeping the momentum going here in Whistler.
Good show there for Vaea. You got to wonder, when you have a nagging knee injury, how much more grueling are these gated racings, these bracketed race formats, than just a one-off downhill run?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. As a downhill run, you just leave it all on the track. You got one run and you send it. But this, you know, you have to go as hard as you can, but at the same time, you got to leave a little bit in the tank, because you know the racing's only going to get tighter. Your competitors are only going to get faster. You're going to be more tired, so you definitely have to kind of gauge that effort, but not leave too much out there. It's definitely big crash right there. Definitely a bit of a technical aspect of it, knowing what to hold back and what to send.
Yeah, between practice, qualifying, 2 runs for each, 16, 8, 4, and 2. It's a lot of riding for one day, especially if you have a nagging injury. So we're hoping Vaea is able to pace herself through. Only time will tell, though, as we take a look at the suspension setup for Louise Ferguson. She's got that RockShox Pike up there, 130 PSI, 6 clicks a rebound, 1 click a high-speed compression, 1 click a low-speed. Those are the magic numbers for you aspiring dual slalom racers out there, you Louise Ferguson fans. Pump and click away, get her settings. So Martha Gill, a half a second behind Louise Ferguson. The gate has dropped.
Definitely not an impossible gap to overcome. Martha with a little bit of an advantage, so she's doing what she needs to do right here. Let's see if she can bring it all the way to the bottom, keeping it really tight. Louise staying right behind her. She knows she's got that advantage, but she can't rest too much. It's a long race here.
Only a half a second to play with here.
There they go. They tighten up, and let's see what they can do. Bring it down to the end. Martha barely getting around the timing there.
Yeah, Louise Ferguson did what she needed to do right there, which was smart racing.
It's one of the fun things of watching these riders out here. You know, they're high-fiving on the gate before the race. They're at the bottom laughing, hugging, high-fiving. There you go, right there. Such good sportsmanship out here at the Crankworx Festival. Everyone's just here to kind of push and elevate each other. It's so fun to watch.
Did you tell them to do that? You said hi, that's like when you bent that fork with your mind a minute ago. Have you guys ever seen Alan Cook do that? All right, anyways, take a look at this replay here from this FPV drone. You really get a good look at that gravel trap and these slingshot berms. And you've been talking about this, Alan, but that rider's right, white lane there, if you're back behind your competitor, you really got to just stay focused, because you catch up so much in that final berm. Look how tight that was.
Yeah, basically crossing the finish line at the exact same time. But yeah, like you're saying, that white course tightening up there at the bottom, you know. If you're ahead on the black side, you're not ahead after that turn. It's side by side. There's definitely nothing to leave on this track.
Young riders really kind of start to show their form, show their teeth in these Crankworx festivals, and then you look, you know, a little bit down the track, we maybe see future.
If you have like a moment on it, it's not
coming out
like
these early rounds.
it's not good.
Crankworx a great mix of skills all around. So many different.
Yeah, what we're waiting here.
You've got downhill riders, you've got enduro riders, you've got slope style
So there we
riders.
go. After everything was calibrated, it was only hundredths of a second separating them. Louise Ferguson will advance. We have the official word on that. So into the round of 4 there for Louise Ferguson.
Look at our times. We've got so much faster.
Yeah, you can hear Martha saying there that they've gotten so much faster looking at the times previous, you know, based on their qualifying in previous rounds. I think this course is getting faster. Those loose turns at the bottom, I'm starting to notice a little bit of a rut developing, and that's going to allow these riders to not check up into those flat turns and really be able to send it all the way to the bottom.
It's going to keep getting better and better here as we make our way through. Our specialized dual slalom whistler, Harriet Burbridge-Smith, back up in the gate. She's a tenth of a second ahead of Danielle Beecroft. On a long track like this, that is nothing.
Gate drops out. Harriet with a slight advantage, but not as much as you think with that downhill bike that Danielle's got. She's pushing it all the way. Slight advantage coming out of that turn. Danny's going to be pushing all the way to the bottom. We've seen her overcome gaps before. Let's see if she can do it here today. But Harriet coming back, and there's that last turn. They're pulling side by side. Those ruts, it's such a close race.
I don't know. It's too close to be able to tell right there.
And it is going to be Danny Beecroft on this one.
Look at that.
Advancing overall by 3/100ths of a second.
That was so tight there. Danielle Beecroft is not going to take that downhill bike for another victory.
Yeah, she was able to win that round, but not quite enough to make up the advantage that Harriet had. She will be advancing. Taking a look back here, these shots are so awesome. I mean, I've raced slalom before, and this is absolutely as close as you can get to what it feels like going down these tracks. And this is where you can see Danny coming through, pedaling to the finish. That's where that downhill bike maybe is coming in a little bit of handy, that bigger tire, bigger contact patch. She's getting a little more traction and able to push a little harder in those flat turns, but not quite enough. You can see coming through about a wheel ahead, but maybe she needed about a wheel and a half to advance.
Well, I must have got my goggles, so. Thank you. Thanks. Oh, that was...
Dual slalom is a grueling day of racing. We saw a clip earlier of Harriet Burbridge-Smith taking a big digger earlier on in the day, and then tight races like that one against Danielle Beecroft. It's why you see such huge celebrations in our final matchup. We're getting closer and closer to that moment today as we work our way through run number 2 of our round of 8 matchups here for the women. Here we have Jordy Scott from the USA going up against Amy Morrison from the USA. 1.3 back is Amy Morrison.
Yeah, so Amy's got quite a bit of a gap to go. Jordy's going to be taking this one down now. You know, she's going to want to just keep her right in her peripheral, make sure she stays right in front of her. Don't leave too much on the track. That's the thing, is once you start relaxing a little bit, it could carry into the next round, and you don't really want that to happen. So staying on point, staying comfortable, you can see that's exactly what she's doing, keeping her right by her side. Such a smart run by Jordy. Unfortunately, Amy, that's going to be the day for her, getting eliminated right there. Amazing, amazing day out there, though, coming all the way through the rounds to this point.
Thank you. We gotta
So Jordy Scott, she was up against Bailey Goldstone in the round of 16. Cool to see Bailey out there, Jackson's sister, and now knocking out Amy Morrison. Jordy Scott, you know, she said she's hoping to be able to take the win in one of these someday. Will today be that day? The number 2 qualifier.
You can see in the slow-mo, these riders really just squeezing the speed out of every obstacle on this track. They're pumping up the jumps, they're pumping around the berms, they're pumping between the jumps and down the backsides, trying to generate as much momentum as they can possibly get out of this track.
So Jordy Scott, great work on that heat right there. Number 2 qualifier on the day.
Thank you.
And, you know, we're waiting for you to get the win in slalom. You mentioned in an interview that hasn't happened yet. So I got to ask you, how do you like this course in particular?
This course is pretty tricky. I think it's going to be really tight between people. There's not any huge determining factors like a stall wall or a big gap jump. So it really comes down to raw speed, and some of these corners are pretty tricky, so you can't push too hard, and there's a lot that goes into it. So I'm really happy to be getting this far. I've actually never even been in the night show, so my luck is going good today, and I've put a lot of work in on slalom, so looks to be paying off this year.
It's definitely paying off. One question, a little bit of update from the track. How's the track developing? It looks like it's getting faster.
Yeah, it feels like it's getting faster. It was a little bit wet in practice, so we're all a bit nervous, but I think we're just going to be able to keep pushing. The turns aren't falling apart. We aren't riding them super high, so they're holding us in, and I think we're just going to be on a slot car track for the rest of the night.
Well, Jordy, welcome to the night show. You look like you've been here countless times. You're doing great. All the best for the rest of the race and tonight. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Pretty cool to see. I remember when she popped onto the scene, you know, just super bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, kind of like, wow, what is happening right now? But now she's turned herself into one of the big names we have on the Crankworx World Tour. And we'll for sure see her in speed and style. But I got to think that all the practice she's been doing for speed and style as one of the top competitors in that format of racing has been helping her slalom game, because just look at her right now, number 2 qualifier and into the round of 4.
Yeah, and the speed and style, you know, she definitely has a deep bag of tricks, but mainly relying on that speed, which is going to translate over to this slalom. It's interesting saying never making the night show, like you're saying. I mean, she looks super comfortable and very in control, so let's see how far she can bring it down the line.
All right, so let's move things over. It's going to be time for run number 2 of the quarterfinals here, a.k.a. the round of 8 for the men's category. We got Bubba Warren going up against Bernard Kerr, first and foremost. And we talk about people who haven't won a slalom before. Bubba's a guy who's come very, very close twice. He's got 2 Crankworx slalom silver medals. And we got Bernard Kerr, a guy who just got a silver medal in World Cup downhill. Impressive performance out there in West Virginia. But he's a guy who would never miss a Crankworx festival. Here we go, they're off.
Yeah, Bubba Warren's going to have a 0.6 to make up, so he's going to leave it all on the track right here. It's either win or go home, so here he goes. Let's see what he can pull off. He's got a little bit of advantage, looking good. Bernard maybe a little bit of a slide out. It's going to work in towards Bubba's favor, but this is where they tighten up. Let's see how it comes down to the line. Bubba's looking fast. What's the split going to be?
Look at that.
Not quite enough. So Bernard carrying that World Cup momentum and eliminating the fastest qualifier of today. Bernard carrying that mental confidence.
Bernard doing it when it counts.
What a G.
It's not going to be the day for Austin Warren. This is a heck of a season for Bernard Kerr, right?
Absolutely one of his
Look
best
how
seasons.
confident, he's aggressive in all these corners. You see him just pushing into those berms that can hold, and then he's light on those flat corners.
Yeah, that was the turn where he had a little bit of a slide out, and you can see Bubba maybe had that 0.6 advantage in the bag. But then again, what we talk about, that white course, how it tightens up right there, and here comes Bernard.
Look how closely we're, oh man.
And he tightens up that gap and was able to hang on for just enough of a split to advance to the next round.
So Bubba, it's not going to be today. We'll see if he can finally get that slalom win down in the Southern Hemisphere in October. But Bernard Kerr moving into the round of 4. Bernard Kerr, the number 9 qualifier, knocking out the number 1 qualifier. Full-on David and Goliath moment for today's slalom festivities. And now, Bas Van Steenbergen, half a second ahead of Adrian Larone.
Baz back on that white course where he had trouble in the previous round against Kyle Stritt. Let's see if he can clean it up here and finish it off against Adrian Larone. Riders are looking side by side. Adrian with a slight advantage. Baz is just going to keep him right in sight. Let's see what he can do. Bas pedaling all the way across that up and over humpback.
Pedaling everywhere he can. It is dead heat right now.
Half a second to play with here. Oh, I feel like Bas is well close enough. There we go. Bas Van Steenbergen advances the round of 4, sending Adrian Larone to focus on the next race out here in Whistler.
Such a well-maintained round there by Bas. You can tell he was pushing for sure, but not pushing too hard. It's so easy to make a mistake on this track. Almost took him out in the previous round. Learned from that mistake. He's looking really solid today. Here's the replay. You can see Larone with that slight advantage. But Bas sort of just playing the game smart, knowing he had that advantage coming into this round. So he kept him right in sights and waited for that final right-hand turn where they tightened up and kept just enough. You can see, man, Bas is looking so good. Overturning out of that last turn just to get that apex on that first turn right. It's looking so good. These times are coming down. They are getting much, much faster.
So Bas Van Steenbergen will line up in the gate against Bernard Kerr in their round of 4 matchup. Bas Van Steenbergen, current leader of points and the king of Crankworx overall race right now. Here we go. Ryan Gilchrist, right side of your screen, going up against Jackson Frew.
Yeah, this was a super tight race. A little bit of a hang-up on that gate for Ryan. Let's see, hopefully he made it through it. He's not giving up. He's pushing all the way to the finish. Jackson with a slight advantage, but he's pushing all the way. He's not going to give this up, that's for sure.
The last corner. Black lane, Ryan Gilchrist again bending through, but Jackson
coming through so close. Those last 3 turns, you can see if you're even just a split second late on that first one, it compounds, and the riders are almost running into the speed of the uprights, the speed trap there.
What happened at the top there for Gilchrist?
Couldn't really tell. It looked like maybe he caught a pedal or maybe his axle or something as he came by. He definitely made it through the gate, but it looked like something caught and hung him up a little bit. But he didn't give up. He pushed all the way to the end, so awesome effort from both riders. Here's the replay. Let's see what we can do on that first gate. See what he gets. So pops out of the gate and snaps. Yeah, his pedal. Yeah. His pedal stuck in that gate. That counts. Your tires are the only thing that has to go around the gate. His pedal clipping it only made him slip his pedal, and unfortunately slowed him down by the few tenths that he had to make up there against Jackson.
Hardcore.
So
too good, man, too good.
This shit's.
Yeah, Jackson Frew making it out of another one here. Another look back here. You want to get as close as you possibly can to that gate without being on the wrong side of it. It's such a razor's edge balance.
Yeah, and that's probably the most important 3 pedals of the race there, that first pedal. They both actually ended up clipping it with their pedals. Somehow Jackson was able to make it stick.
Well, another reminder to send us questions. If the question was worded, what is the most important part of the start, power or precision, we'd be definitely going with power.
We gotta pretend like we like each other for another 5 seconds. Good job, Chen.
Do you think that they know we can hear him?
Nicely done. Good job, Junior.
No, and don't tell them either.
No way.
It's like
yeah, we got
Ron Burgundy and Veronica Corningstone.
Silver Star
the end of a good news report. I can't quote any of those, actually. None of those are appropriate.
No, they are not.
I just ran through all of them in my head. I went, nope, none of those. Hey, let's talk about racing then. We got Mick Hannah, number 2 qualifier, going up against Joey Foresta. And if that's not entertaining enough for you, the differential that Joey Foresta has to make up is 0.02 of a second, a.k.a. this is a drag race. 3, 2, 1, let's see this.
Yeah, it's basically no advantage. Winner's going to take it all on this one. Both riders get a clean gate. Jackson with a slight lead out of the gate.
He's got this snap right now.
Absolutely, he does. You can tell he's putting some focus on this stuff, getting out to the BMX track, practicing those gates. But this is where Mick's power is going to come in. Let's see if he can reel it back.
Oh, no, Mick losing pedals. How did he get back so
Doesn't
fast?
skip a beat.
No way. Oh, with only 2,000s to play with, that's not going to be enough for Mick Hannah. Joey Foresta slaying the giant out here.
Bit of an upset right there. Seeing Mick go out. Unfortunately, that little bit of a slip pedal was probably the difference for him. Checking his bike.
Well, we're definitely going to have to watch that replay. Looks like is the chain dropped?
Yeah, it looks like he lost the chain, unfortunately.
Well, you're not going to have any power without that.
Nope.
Rely all on your precision. I can't believe he got his feet back on the pedals, though. Like, he seat bounced with his feet off the pedals. The pedals did a full spin, and he somehow found them right away. Let's take a look back at this.
So everything going good for both riders here. Mick with a slight disadvantage.
I wonder if he broke his chain and that's why he slipped the pedals.
We were talking earlier about how he relies on power. I think he had a little bit too much power. Coming over that jump. Here it comes right here. Squeezes in that pedal. Foot slips off. Was able to maintain and get his foot on pretty quick and didn't lose a lot of time. But again, he only had that 0.02.
0.002.
0.002, you're right. Between the two riders, so unfortunately that was enough for us to get through.
Ninja reflexes there for Mick Hannah, and Joey Foresta will be going up against Jackson Frew, and that was the third fastest time of the day. You see bottom left side of your screen right there. We like to keep track of the fastest times of the day because sometimes as these riders continue to push it and the competition just gets that much more fierce, we see some course records continue to get broken. And this is what we have on our hands here, our men's pro semifinal matchups in the specialized dual slalom Whistler. Bernard Kerr up against Bas Van Steenbergen. Jackson Frew going up against Joey Foresta. And look at the numbers here. These are not the top qualifiers. And that's what we love to see in slalom. Unexpected occurrences. It happens every once in a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And that just shows like how important the buildup of speed is. It's not necessarily, you know, throughout the day, just who's the fastest rider in that moment in qualifying. It's how you build that speed, how you adapt to the changing course, how you're able to, you know, build each round one on top of the other. And looking at Bernard, our 9th place qualifier, he's currently got the fastest run on the track today. So it's anybody's game.
They know what they're doing out there. The guys who are pacing themselves are going to be the ones there with that gold medal at the end of the day. So it's going to be interesting to see this continue to evolve. But I like what you've been doing with the Trail Center in Squamish. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? This is the specialized dual slalom. So tell me what you've been up to.
Yeah, we Specialized. We got a few experience centers, set out around the world. One of them right here in the heart, in the Sea to Sky, right there in Squamish. In a way to acknowledge the land that we all ride our bikes on and really connect the mountain bike community with the rightful owners of this land that we ride on. We really wanted to put the highlight there and connect those dots. So what we did is we had an art show. We gave out a bunch of helmets to some Sea to Sky artists. You can see them there. We actually had an auction. We were able to raise $8,000 for First Nations youth outreach programs. We're going to be splitting the funds between ISLA and the First Nations Youth Mountain Bike Program. We also have some T-shirts. We had a local artist design. We're selling them out throughout the month of August. We're looking to raise about $30,000 and really connect the mountain bike community with the First Nations community and really show what this land is offering us and really just a way to say thanks, and really respect what we're doing out here.
Good stuff out there, Alan Cook. I like what you're all about, my man, and I like what today's all about. It's all about being back in Whistler, feeling those vibes we haven't felt for a full 3 years, and we're right in the middle of our specialized dual slalom Whistler right now. We've got things set for both our women and our men, but we're going to be racking up our women at the top of the course right now into the gate. And here's who it's going to come down to. Here's our final four as it stands right now. Vaea Verbeek, number 1 qualifier. No big surprises there. Louise Ferguson, 4th place qualifier, still holding tight. And then Jordy Scott, very different than the way the men's bracket looks right now. We still have our number 1 and 2 qualifiers on a collision course, potentially may meet up in that gold medal matchup. And Harriet Burbidge-Smith, an opportunity to be the upsetter out there, the 6th place qualifier.
Looking at the fastest times of the day, you can see Vaea really settling in and having the 2 fastest times so far. So she's adapting to this course, and she's doing exactly what she needs to do. She's building each round, and she's going to build all the way to that final. I'm sure that's her plan.
Yeah, you see Vaea's got the top 2 times, but her opponent right here, Louise Ferguson, has the 3rd fastest time. So Louise got to dig deep right now.
number 1 and number 4 qualifiers right here. Vaea with a slight advantage, but Louise keeping her honest. Side by side coming through the course. Louise pulling out a little bit of a gap right there, insiding that berm. That was an amazing move. I hadn't seen that all day. She inside of that berm was still able to generate some speed, bring it all the way to the bottom. It looks like Louise is actually going to take a slight advantage.
8/100ths of a second to the good for Louise Ferguson.
8/100ths of a second. You can see Vaea shaking her head there, so maybe a little mistake that we missed. It's not over. She's going to get another chance and get back up there and have a chance to make up that 0.8.
This is going to be good. Alan, that inside corner you're talking about, we're going to get a chance to look back at that here.
Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, it's all happening so fast, it's hard to tell exactly where it's happening. But I think it was this turn right here, the main outside line of the berm, and then she kind of goes inside. Look how low she is in the turn right there. So she's actually shortening the track. And when we're talking about tenths and thousandths of a second, that's going to help. And you can see she was able to do that and still maintain her speed and pull away over those rollers.
With those inside lines, it's a bit of a roll of the dice move, and that's the situation Louise Ferguson is in right now. She's going to take out the number 1 qualifier. So Louise, pacing herself and risking it when it counts. We'll see what will happen when we get them back to the top. But right now, it's your number 2 qualifier, Jordy Scott, going up against Harriet Burbridge-Smith.
Yeah, Jordy talking about how this is her first time in the night show. She's looking super calm and confident coming into this. Number 2 qualifier, she's got to have, she's got to be confident coming into this. Let's see if she can pull it off against Harriet in this round. Like gunfighters, these riders. It's not on a consistent cadence. It's a random start, these gates, so you don't know exactly when it's going to drop. The cadence lets you know, okay, riders, random start, and then you kind of wait. And you wait, and it could be 1 second, it could be 5 seconds. So they really got to have that gunfighter mentality and be ready to go at any moment in time. So a quick gate right there for Harriet out of the gate, snapping. Jordy with those hard pedals.
Oh! Harriet offline.
Small mistake out of Harriet pushing that front end. She's not giving up, though. She's going to push all the way to the end and try to minimize that difference. She knows she's got another chance.
Significant advantage, but
what's it going to be? First of 2 runs here.
And there they go, tightening up.
Harriet really was able to pull it back. The question is by how much? What will our differential be? 0.34. So Jordy Scott keeping up the consistency, and Harriet Burbidge-Smith having a mistake but somehow holding on.
Jordy had a big advantage, but Harriet Burbidge-Smith making up a ton of ground.
Yeah, let's get another look at that mistake out of Harriet. It looked like at one point she had that 1.5 deficit. She was back, but she was able to throw down the pedals and nail the turns. Let's see what happens here. Watch her feet. See what happens here. Oh, her front tire almost over the berm and able to save it. She had to take a foot off actually to save from going over the berm. And that point, she has about 1.5 back, and you can see she's pulled it up. There it is right there, that front tire almost going all the way over the berm. And there she's sitting there with that big deficit, but watch this comeback. She drops the hammer and rails the turns all the way to the finish, and she was actually able almost to catch all the way back up. So she's not out.
No, that was a great way to go for Harriet Burbidge-Smith. They're digging deep and making up for that mistake.
When you're rolling. So these 2 riders are going to go back up. Harriet is going to look to do a flawless run to make up that bit of time on Jordy Scott.
So I've been noticing that, at the bottom of this run, Harriet's kind of moving her shoulder. She had a pretty crazy crash earlier on in the day. And if you're not 100%, it makes it so hard to be precise with your bike. Let's take a look at that crash from earlier. Right to the right shoulder. And that's the shoulder you see her working on at the bottom of every run. You got to think that thing is bothering her. And that could play into her being a little bit off of her line in this run here.
Yeah, watch this mistake. She almost does the exact same thing that she did in that crash, but was able to save it and then come back. This is a previous round here.
It's been such a long day for her, though, if you consider she's already knocked out Danny Beecroft. She's had that crash, and now she's going up against Jordy Scott in a tight matchup. Just really goes to show how grueling dual slalom racing can be.
Yeah, and these women are out here pushing it to the max, the fortitude to carry on after a big slam like that. Those ones where your front tire goes over the berm like that, you don't see it coming, and it's just like a body slam.
You don't have a chance to brace for it or really minimize that impact. There's no rolling out of that. It's just straight to the ground. So a look at our semifinal matchup here for the men. Bernard Kerr up against Bas Van Steenbergen, Jackson Frew, and Joey Foresta will be duking it out. And as we mentioned before, 1, 2, and 3 qualifiers not even in the game anymore. So this thing blown wide open for the men's category.
Yeah, absolutely. That build is working for these riders.
Hey, you know what's cool? This always happens. You see kids out here watching and just, you know, they're so impressionable. And then a few years later, you see them out on the course. I wonder if we'll see that kid out here as a Crankworx World Tour professional rider someday. We've seen it so many times. It's always fun to watch. So Bernard Kerr up against Bas Van Steenbergen. Run number 1.
Riders out of the gate. Baz getting a slightly better snap. Bernard is not going to let that hold him back, though. He is going to shroud this course all the way to the bottom. Man, look at the skill of these riders, just on a razor's edge the entire time. They're going to tighten up here. Let's see how they can bring it home. Baz carrying speed. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Jeez, come on, 9/100ths of a second separating Bas Van Steenbergen and Bernard Kerr. The advantage going to Bas Van Steenbergen. These are like the two riders in this field today I want to see go up against each other. They're the two most powerful looking riding styles we've seen so far. They both, you know, I commented on the fact that Bas is always doing so much with his bike. But Bernard is as well. Look at this.
Watch Bas's front tire here off the drop. Fully sliding and able to just hop off that little drop just enough to get back inside that gate. As he was going off the drop, he was going to miss the gate and had the slightest little elbow twitch that pulled him right back on course. These guys are pushing it so much. They're on such a fine line. It's so exciting to watch. Man, this is a good track, man. It's producing some good racing.
Pushing front tire off of a drop into a corner, also out of a corner. Like, that is some bike skill right there. Take note. There's a lot to be learned from watching that human ride a bicycle. Ridiculous control. So back up to the top, Jackson Frew going up against Joey Foresta. Foresta is on fire today. I feel like he's going to do this. Let's see. He's the underdog, the number 10 qualifier.
Solid gate, as every gate that Joey's done today. You can tell he's been putting the time in. This is a close race, though. Jackson pulling a slight advantage. But then Joey comes right back with an advantage. He knows that that white lane is going to catch up. Here it comes. They're going to tighten up right to the finish. And Joey's able to just keep that momentum. That's one of the first runs I've seen where the white lap did not catch up as much in that final right-hand turn. Joey's found something in that black lane on that last turn to keep that gap that he had going in.
It's such a push and pull between these two lanes. It's almost a perfect dual slalom course because it does level out so much by the end. 0.2 separating these riders here.
Watch Joey. What does he do on this turn? He's able to just pump and ride. Yeah, you see how he came out of that turn with all the aggression and pump? He's actually generating speed around the turn. Where most people think about, like, okay, here's a turn, I need to slow down. He's just loading the bike up into the turn and shooting out like a rocket.
He's leaving the corners early as well. He's like popping out of them to square them off and almost just not touch parts of the course that he doesn't see as necessary. If you have the bike skill to do that, it's going to result in saving a lot of time. So back to the women. Louise Ferguson with the advantage over Vaea Verbeek. Jordy Scott with the advantage over Has. Tight matchups, both of these. I mean, really tight between Ferguson and Verbeek. 0.08 of a second. And then we're down to 0.3 there between Jordy Scott and Has.
Definitely not a gimme out there. Everybody's going to have to give it everything they have. Number 4 and number 1 qualifiers right here. Let's see what it brings.
Advantage belonging to Ferguson. Gate drop.
Vaea knows what's on the line. She's going to want to keep this streak running. Vaea also taking some of those inside turns. They're shortening the track. Each lap, they're learning these new lines. Getting thousandths of a second out of each turn, roller, and jump. Vaea with a slight advantage. They're going to tighten up.
Right here, but it looks
She's going to have to push. Let's see if it's enough.
Oh, that's going to be enough for sure. Yeah. There we go. Vaea Verbeek claws her way back and makes it out of that round. That is what winning dual slalom is all about. If she's able to go all the way and back up that #1 qualifier, she's going to be thinking about that moment right there where Louise Ferguson absolutely made her earn it.
Yeah, we'll see Louise come back for the bronze medal match. But Vaea advancing, keeping it alive.
So Jordy Scott going up against Harriet Burbridge-Smith. The advantage belongs to Jordy Scott, the #2 qualifier. It's a small one, 0.34.
0.34, the smallest of margins. Harriet with, see if she can get a clean run in and make that up. Jordy stoked to be in the final show. #2 qualifier, no slouch. She's definitely going to push Harriet all the way to the finish. Harriet trying to get every ounce of speed, pedaling through the air even. You can tell she's focused. She knows what's on the line here. She wants to advance.
Oh, man.
Both riders.
0.34 to play with. What's it going to be? Oh, yeah. There we go. Jordy Scott held close enough to Haz. And Jordy makes it in to the gold medal matchup against Vaea Verbeek. First time in the night show, and boom, right into the big final.
Yeah, definitely doesn't look like a stranger here in the night show. Pushing all the fastest racers, still advancing. It's awesome to see these riders improve not only from year to year, but from event to event.
Yeah,
you know, it wasn't even that long ago we were in Innsbruck, and you know she didn't make the show like she said, but now here she is pushing for the win.
So very different stories here for the women and the men. First, let's talk about the women. The collision course dream came true. #1 qualifier, Vaea Verbeek, going up against #2 qualifier, Jordy Scott. The bronze medal matchup will be Louise Ferguson and Harriet Burbidge-Smith. In the men's category is shaping up so different with these underdogs making it happen. Bas Van Steenbergen, tough to call him an underdog, but he was outside of the top 3 qualifications in #4 position there. He's got the advantage over Bernard Kerr, the #9 qualifier. Then all the way down, 10th qualifying position, Joey Foresta making it happen, trying to get through Jackson Frew.
Man, this is going to be an exciting one. You know Bernard's going to try to keep this momentum going.
So Bernard Kerr, take a look at that fastest times of the day list there.
I believe it was this side of the track that he was able to get that fastest time. Let's see if he can pull whatever he was doing on that fast time here and be able to make up that advantage.
There we go.
Oh, Bernard, a little push on the front end, but he's still going. Almost like it didn't even happen. He's focused. Wow. Look at that speed that he's carrying out of these turns. He's not done. Here comes Bernard. What's it going to be? Bernard takes the win on that round, but not quite.
I might have missed the gate. I might have missed one.
Oh.
Which one? Maybe. I might have missed the gate.
Well, we can't react yet because Bernard thinks he may have missed a gate.
Unbelievable effort there for Bernard Kerr. We saw
I almost crashed to the top and almost missed the gate.
up high on the course.
Yeah, you hear Bernard talking about almost crashing. He pushed that front tire early on.
Let's see.
This is coming down to the finish line. That's where he's making up his time. He was maybe a fraction behind. Let's see if he gets around this gate. Oh, his tire was around it.
He might have been thinking earlier up the course or something because he's definitely good on that one, isn't he?
He was looking back. Let's see how it happens. I think see that like little twitch?
Oh, he's good. Yeah, that was just his pedal on the other side.
Yeah, he's got it.
So Bernard Kerr, man.
Able to not only make up the deficit, but also make up the time on course from that early mistake.
So Bernard, you're on fire this season. What's the difference? Is it just health? Have you added something to your training technique? Where'd you spend the off season? What are you drinking? Like, something is working for you this year.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I've been training a lot more than usual, so that's definitely helping, being fit and stuff. But just enjoying it, loving it. We got a new tyre sponsor this year, and that's come with a lot of confidence and feeling good. So yeah, just loving it out here.
How do you like this course, man? You're looking fast on it. It's a little bit more downhill oriented with the technical aspects. Is it playing toward your strengths?
Yeah, definitely. I honestly thought maybe I wouldn't race because I've got a 170, 160 bike out here, but things unreal. The track's so high speed, it's rough. It's what we've been looking for for a slalom track, so it's really, really good.
Well, you seem to be kind of climaxing at the right time. I don't know if I should use that word out there, but you're doing great. It seems like you're on pace to really take the win out there if you can keep up on this path, dude. And just like at the World Cups, we're sitting here screaming, rooting for you.
Oh, thanks a lot, boys. I'll try my best.
Cheers, man. So Bernard Kerr now into the final matchup.
So his foot does clip the gate. His tires did go around. Just getting through. Was that the gate in question? That third gate? We are good. We are good.
He's good.
Official.
He's good.
Bernard,
that gate just couldn't hang.
No. He blew right by it. Literally.
So this is going to be cool. I don't know if you noticed when we had those fastest times of the day in the bottom left side of the screen right there, but Joey Foresta had the second fastest time of the day, the 10th place qualifier. So we talk about kind of saving something for the finals. Here we go. Joey up against Jackson Frew. Joey has a 0.2 advantage.
Yeah, Joey's been pushing all day, getting faster and faster throughout the day. You can tell from that qualifying time and then getting on that leaderboard with the second fastest race. But right now he's got time to make up because Jackson is dropping the hammer. Let's see how they come down. Jackson pushing hard. Joey just hopping over that gate. We'll have to see if he made it around it.
I don't know, Joe might have went over.
It's like the same thing as the last matchup.
Yeah, they're pushing so hard they don't even know if they're making it through or not. That was close for Joey. I saw the gate wiggle a little bit. It'll be interesting to see on the replay which side of the gate his tires were on.
No DQ there, so Joey Foresta looking like he is moving on to the finals.
It's going to be the very last gate. You can see how much of a gap Jackson had there. And watch this very last gate. Let's see Joey. He pops up. He's good. Did you see that? He whipped.
He foot planted it.
He whipped his bike right around the gate and was able to hold on. And he's going to advance.
It's almost like if he didn't catch air and kick it out, he would have missed the gate. But last second,
look at this
improvisational maneuver. No way.
That is precision.
And you can't do that with flat pedals either. He's clipped in, right? Because he just lifted, he just levitated the bike.
Yeah, magic tricks out there from Joey. Doing everything he needed to do to get that bike around that final gate in advance. What a run.
I love what we're seeing right here. This is absolutely insane. Like, if we were betting on this, I feel like the odds would have been so against Bernard Kerr and Joey Foresta, the 9 and 10 qualifiers. Somebody would be winning big money out here if they predicted this.
Absolutely.
And then the bronze medal matchup, Bas Van Steenbergen going up against Jackson Frew. Bas still with an opportunity to extend that lead in the King overall points. Mick left the building before the real points were distributed, so definitely a big opportunity out there for Bas. Not to get the gold, but those third place points would really play to his favor for the overall.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs to get every point that he can get. You know, Mick's not too far behind him. There's a lot of events to come this week. There's a lot of events to come for the rest of the Crankworx World Tour. Every point's going to count. You know Bas is going to be sending it for that bronze medal.
Well, be a part of the story. Log on to Instagram. Use the hashtag CrankworxFromHome or our classic hashtag, just Old Faithful Crankworx. Let us know what you think about the crazy racing out there today. Did you pick number 9 and 10 qualifiers to be in the final in the men's category? Did you think Vaea Verbeek's knee was going to hold up to the point where she would win air downhill and now be gearing up to go 2 wins in 2 days? She's got to get past Jordy Scott. More of the story is go on Instagram. Tell us what you think. Great show out there. Collision course, Vaea Verbeek, Jordy Scott. It's Pretty cool seeing the new name there, Louise Ferguson, breaking onto the scene last year at the New Zealand events. A lot of buzz about Louise Ferguson is paying off now here in Whistler. Some impressive performances. Expect to see her on the Crankworx World Tour for a long time, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's so cool, the platform that the Crankworx World Tour gives these riders that, you know, they may not be the best at one specific thing, but that's the thing out here. It's you got to be the best overall bike rider to be the king or the queen. And it's really set the platform for a lot of riders and new faces, and it's been so exciting to see it all come together, and we're stoked to have it here in Whistler.
So a chance to catch the breath. It's been a long day for these racers, giving them a chance to take care of any last preparations.
Yeah, just to give you an idea about this day, you know, I think practice started around noon today, so these riders have been out here, and it's a little bit hot out here in Whistler right now, a little bit humid, so you know, these riders are definitely pushing it and having to give out a lot of energy this early in the week. Here we are with our bronze medal round. Ferguson versus Burbridge-Smith. Great Britain versus Australia.
Bronze medal matchup number one, like you said here. About to drop the gate.
Number four and number 6 qualifiers. Harriet coming out with a solid gate. She's also going to be looking to get every single point that she can get and giving everything she can to get that bronze medal, airing it out. Louise is going to keep her honest, though. Let's see how tight they come in this final right-hand turn. Harriet with a slight advantage. Able to keep it on the course through the flat turns.
Well, Harriet's going to like that. A half a second exactly. The advantage there for Burbidge-Smith over Louise Ferguson. Now, after we've seen so much racing, if you had to pick, which one would you say is the dominantly faster track, or do you think it's just a toss-up?
I think it's 100% the fastest track is the one that the rider just won on.
Yeah, it's
every time.
Pretty even. Yeah. It's pretty even though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really hard to say exactly. There's a couple of riders out there that have figured out that last right-hand turn on the black, and they don't seem to be losing as much speed there.
It's basically one rider's faster course might be different than another rider's faster course, depending on if you figured out some of those crucial technical corners. That's what you want in a dual slalom course. You know, sometimes we do have dual slalom courses where one is just undoubtedly faster than the other, but we've got pretty good balance on these two lanes.
Have a good one, everybody.
This bronze medal matchup for the men is going to be huge. Jackson Frew and Bas Van Steenbergen, your defending king of Crankworx and current leader. So you know he's going to be looking for points out there. Spread that gap over second place Mick Hannah in the king of Crankworx standings. But Jackson's not going to give it to him, I'll tell you that.
We've got some tire specs for you, Alan.
Yeah, looking at Steenberg's, we saw this on his bike check earlier. One of the things that he didn't call out is I noticed it was a Max Terra compound. So that's the softest compound that Maxxis makes. So he's going for grip over speed here. Let's see if it pays off. Gate drops, riders identical gate starts side by side through the first 3 gates. Jackson with a slight advantage, but Baz is going to keep pushing. This is where it's really going to come together and tighten up on this last right-hander. Baz slightly off rhythm, but he's coming in hard, coming down these last runs. But Jackson able to keep the hammer down.
Jackson Frew making it happen, putting .29 on Bas Van Steenbergen. That sums it up right there. Long pause and then just,
That might have been Jackson's first breath since the gate dropped.
Jackson
putting everything out on the ground. Pedals, corners, jumps, not leaving an ounce of momentum. in the bag. It's all on the course.
So he's been using that time here to really hone in and put it in.
Just honing right in on that champ. Come on in, champ. Yeah, good job there, Junior. It was a good one.
I love listening to Jackson at the bottom of a run. All right, this is what we're talking about right here. The gold medal matchup, run number 1 between Vaea Verbeek and Jordy Scott. The collision course dream come true here of our number 1 qualifier going up against our number 2 qualifier. High pressure moment right here.
You know these riders have been watching each other race. They know where the strong points are. They know where they're going to have to push. Gate start's going to be important. Both riders with a good jump.
No.
And Jordy slides out in turn 1. Unfortunate.
All that buildup and anticipation.
It happens so fast. It's so hard to tell what made that happen.
Right before the first gate. Oh, man. Well, you know what? That's why we have 1.5 max differentials. Jordy Scott can collect herself. The maximum she'll have to make up is 1.5. Definitely not when you want to do it, right in the finals.
Absolutely not. Vaea taking that 1.5 advantage into the next round. It's not a gimme, though. She's going to have to stay focused.
Allow me to just kind of hypothesize a little bit here. I saw a lot of dirt on her butt. That dirt was muddy dirt. Did they just water the course? Did she hit a mud patch or something? How do you ride that section of trail so many times without crashing, and then all of a sudden, boom, you hit the deck?
Could have been a hole in the hose up there, overwatered. Yeah, let's see what happens here. So she gets the good pedals out, leans in, and just pushes the front end right there.
No.
Yeah, it looks like the wet part is actually after the crash right there. There's a little puddle.
Yeah, it looked dusty and dry where she slid out.
Yeah, just push the front end.
I'm not sure where
there.
that came from.
Just push that front end right there a little bit in the first turn, unfortunately.
There was some hidden mud under there. I didn't even see the puddle.
Yeah, I think it was just after the crash she slid into the puddle, which was not necessarily on the main line of the course. It wasn't really something that affected the crash, just slight lapse in concentration. It's been a long, hot day. Having to put that power down, maybe put a little bit too much power down, and it was lightened up her front wheel and wasn't able to get that traction in that turn that she's used to.
How cool would it be if Jordy could come back from that, right? That would be the full Cinderella story. So we'll hold on to that possibility. But right now, we got the gold medal matchup for the men. Bernard Kerr going up against Joey Foresta. The 9 and 10 qualifiers. Is this real life? What in the world is happening? One of these guys is going to walk away with the gold medal today.
9 and 10 qualifiers, but this is no accident. They both have the fastest runs on this course today. Joey with a solid gate. I do believe it's that black course that both riders have their fastest runs in, so let's see how it comes together. Joey with a slight advantage coming up over the rollers, and this is where Bernard is really strong coming out of this final turn. There he is, he catches right up. And these flat turns, Foresta trying to reel it back in, and Bernard is going to be able to get that advantage right there.
You are absolutely right. Bernard has that last corner so dialed.
It's not the entrance of the turn, it's how he's coming out. He's creating so much momentum in the turn and almost jumping out to get to the outside and get that apex early. Unbelievable skills from both of these riders.
It looks like he loads up in the berm, and then it's like one of those little poppers you flip open, and when they spring out, they shoot up into the air.
Yeah, just an explosion out of the turn down the last straight.
It's like a coiled spring in that last corner. I can't wait to see that on the replay, because that is where he made up. I mean, he was behind here, and then bingo.
Watch him come out of his turn. He pops and oversteers and gets that apex straight in, and he's not late by a fraction of a second on any of those turns and had the apex perfect.
I mean, we were putting all of our attention on Bernard there because he crossed the finish line first, but that's very similar to what Joey has been doing on the other side. You know, so if he can implement that same strategy, these guys are so close now on our fast time of the day. This is still anybody's game here when we get them back up to the top of the course. So run number 2 in our bronze medal matchup. It all comes down to this. We are officially giving away some hardware here. Will the bronze medal go to Harriet Burbridge-Smith or Louise Ferguson? We are about to find out. Half a second separating them. The advantage going to Has.
Half a second, not much to do between the two of them. Coming down, who's going to get the hardware? Both riders keeping each other honest. Louise and Harriet neck and neck. Maybe Louise with a slight advantage coming over the rollers. They're going to come together down for this final straight. And Louise able to just explode out of that turn and carry some momentum, but was it enough?
So there was a half second to play with. Oh my gosh, Louise Ferguson grabs that bronze medal.
She does it. She's able to make up the deficit in time and the gap on the track in that final round to take home the bronze medal. What an exciting race.
How did you get through those flags? Okay? I don't know how to get through those flags so fast.
All smiles and appreciation for one another. Love to see that.
That is great to see there for Louise Ferguson. Grabbing some hardware.
That's awesome.
A lot of people talking about Louise Ferguson, and you know what? It's officially not talk. She's got a Crankworx Whistler bronze medal in dual slalom.
Look at this replay. Let's see what Louise does in these last couple turns. It's like she's just able, I don't see anything wrong from Harriet. I just see Louise accelerating through these last 3 turns. It's like she knew what was on the line and just left her brakes completely out of the equation and sent it and was able to make up that deficit and get the hardware.
Rather than sideways, and she
Eyes up, weight
Louise
over the
Ferguson
front.
into
So
the
aggressive.
bronze medal position here, specialized dual slalom.
Somebody pinched that girl.
Louise,
she can't
making
believe
the
it,
transition
but
from
she
a
did it.
builder in
Amazing
Queenstown,
day on the bike.
building houses to going to racing the World Cup, even trying to EWS, and now here in the Crankworx.
Super cool to see. Congrats there to Louise Ferguson, grabbing that bronze medal. Now we're taking a look at the top of the course. We've got plenty more racing to come for you right here as we load this next heat up into the gate. Jackson Frew already sitting patiently on the rider's right side of the course as Bas Van Steenbergen loads up. There you go. Sportsman-like knuckles here. The final run for the bronze medal matchup here. Jackson Frew, Bas Van Steenbergen. Who's going to go home with the hardware and the points?
Frew with a slight advantage, but arguably Baz on the slightly faster course as things have developed over the day. Let's see what they can make happen. Gate pops out. Unbelievable gate out of Baz. Hard on the pedals, railing those turns. He doesn't want this medal to slip through his fingers, but Jackson is not going to give up. Pushing it to the limit in every corner. They're going to tighten up here at the bottom.
It's going to be close.
It's going to be close. Let's see what they can do. Baz with a slight advantage coming down to the finish. Is it going to be enough?
Bas Van Steenbergen grabs the bronze medal and those valuable points to extend his King of Crankworx overall lead.
You can hear Jackson saying he came unclipped and did the whole bottom half of the race with 1 foot unclipped. But Baz was pushing him the whole way, able to make up that deficit and get that hardware and those extra points to keep extending his King of Crankworx lead. You can see how much he wanted it, not only in the first couple pedals out of the gate, but then that fist bump of relief there at the finish. So here he comes, pushing out of that turn. He's able to just be super precise in those ruts and get those pedals hard down to the ground, where maybe Frew wasn't able to get the pedals down as hard as he wanted to with that 1 foot unclipped. But there's that fist pump and a little bit of an elation, able to walk out of this one with a medal and extending that King of Crankworx lead over Mick Hannah.
I have a feeling we're going to see these riders trading results back and forth.
These guys are going to sleep good tonight, I'll tell you that.
That's a long day of racing. It's just the start of the week here. The second stop of the Crankworx World Tour back in Whistler, BC, where it all began.
That was pretty heartbroken.
Baz talking about his air downhill result. So he's back on track now, grabbing a medal. Day 2 of competition. Day 1 of broadcast out here. Great to see as the crowd will continue to grow as we get closer to Joyride on Saturday. But right now, the gold medal matchup. Jordy Scott, the number 2 qualifier, going up against Vaea Verbeek, your number 1 qualifier, Vaea Verbeek, the current leader in the Queen of Crankworx title hunt. Jordy with an issue in run number 1. She has a 1.5 to make up.
This is one of those moments, if you're Vaea, everything needs to stay perfectly smooth. You start questioning things, and that's when the mistakes will happen. Just stay confident. Keep Jordy in your peripherals. She's doing everything she needs to do, dropping the hammer, keeping her behind her just to make sure. Just a perfect race. Sliding around those turns, Vaea's able to bring it home for the win. Whoa! Little buck and Bronco there at the finish.
Careful with that knee there, Vaea. Well, Vaea doing exactly what she needed to do. Those are the difficult moments, aren't they? You spend all day learning and strategizing how to ride as fast as you can, and then when you know you have a 1.5, making sure that by easing up doesn't make you mess up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jordy, her first time in the night show, she's going to walk away with a silver medal. And you know, she's getting some good points too, so she's going to be looking ahead to get even more. Man, look how stoked Vaea is. 2 for 2 already here at Crankworx. Vaea being a little bit more of a veteran out here, knows how to work it, you know, knows how to make it happen. She's been keeping it calm in practice, just saving it for the moments that count, making it happen. It's those tough weekends when you end up winning the overall titles, injuries or not. She's playing it smart.
So true. Look at what we have going on right here. This is the gold medal matchup for the men. Joey Foresta, the number 10 qualifier, going up against Bernard Kerr, the number 9 qualifier. 2 fastest riders of the day, though. Who's going to take it?
Gate drops down. Joey with a slight advantage. This is going to be good. These guys are going to leave it all on the course, pushing super hard. Look at the roost coming out of Bernard. He is not holding back. Turn after turn.
Jeez.
Riding the absolute limit of the bike and the terrain. Bernard just railing those turns and able to take it home.
Missing the gate, pushing so hard. Bernard able to hold it together. He takes the gold medal. Wow. How hard was Joey pushing? Way to go, Bernard Kerr.
What a race. We've got a review. Let's watch the start. What do we have? Let's watch Bernard. He's got the most to lose. He hits that gate.
Very similar to what we saw in his earlier round.
But watch this. Watch the roost coming out of this turn behind Bernard. It's like he's on a CRF 450 coming out of these turns, just laying the power down.
Looks like he's at a serve contest, seeing how much spray he can throw over the top of the wave. So that's one gate knocked over.
That's the gate under review.
Okay.
His pedal definitely hit it. The question is whether his back tire was able to go around it.
I think it was. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean,
it looks similar to when they gave it to him before.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are pushing so hard and so tight. And then what do we have down here? Look at Foresta missing that gate clearly, pushing it all the way to the limit. So if they both miss the gate, what happens, Cam?
Yeah,
do we get to see him go again? I want to see that. I don't think it's possible, but I want him to go again.
Keep on racing. We got to give credit to Joey Foresta out there. I mean, he's on another level than what we've seen him on before, and I think he's somebody we're really going to have to start looking out for.
We're good.
So it looks like the word's in. We got a thumbs up from Bernard.
Bernard Kerr, it's official, grabs the gold medal out here at the Specialized Dual Slalom Whistler. The smile says it all.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought? 3 days ago, you were on the other side of the country winning medals in a different event.
Oh, God.
So, Bernard, you just said who would have thought. I mean, we've been watching.
The mic's working. The mic's working, I think. You're good.
Yeah, the mic's working. We can hear you. You said who would have thought. After watching the way you've been riding this season, it's, you know, it's something we wouldn't put money against, you winning the medal out here. Where's your confidence level where you say who would have thought? It looks like you are on fire on another level than we've ever seen you before.
Yeah, man, we're feeling good. Bike's going good. Like I said, we've got the new Continental tires, and thing feels unreal out there. So, Yeah, pretty stoked. Loving Whistler. So happy to be back after 3 years off. So absolutely loving it.
What else are you racing out here for the rest of the week?
I've just got the downhill left now. Canadian Open, we'll do whip off Friday. We got some Pivot Next Gen kids we're going to ride with, so it should be a sick week.
All right, kids, get your pens out. Get some Bernard Kerr autographs. He's going to be out here all week. Congratulations, taking that gold medal, my man.
Thanks, boys.
What a show. What a show. Joey Foresta, come on, man. Like, this is one of those moments where we see somebody slowly climbing the ranks, kind of out of the spotlight for a while, and then all of a sudden they have that breakout moment. Is this that moment for him?
I think it is, yeah. I think you can tell just in his riding and his confidence, and, you know, he's grown up a little bit. He's getting stronger, he's getting taller, and he's making it all work to his advantage. And, I mean, I think, you know, how close was that race? Is no giving, that's for sure. I think we're going to have him on this series for quite a while. That race was close, but a race that is getting further and further apart between first and second is the Queen of Crankworx overall race. Let's take a look at those standings right now as Vaea Verbeek extends, but Jordy Scott moving herself up there into second. Yeah, a little bit of a shake-up there. Each event is going to shake up these points, but Vaea able to just extend her lead that much more. We have plenty of racing to go this week and the rest of the World Tour, so nothing is over. It's crazy how Caroline Buchanan was sitting in second before this race, and now she's all the way down into fourth. Bernard talking about that training schedule he's been doing. Is that part of his workout? There is some bike tosses. King leaderboard right now. No shake-up at the top with Bas Van Steenbergen grabbing third place points in the dual slalom today. Jackson Frew sneaking up there into the second spot, bumping Mick Hannah down into third. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens after downhill. Jackson and Mick both extremely strong in the downhill category, as well as Sam Blankenstop down there in fourth, so it's not over. The Bass has just been getting faster and faster. His downhill game has been improving so much. The last couple years, it seems like he's put a big emphasis on downhill, so it'll be interesting to see how that leaderboard continues to evolve, because we have so many more events for you. Up next tomorrow, tune into Red Bull.TV for the Ultimate Pump Track Challenge. We've shaken things up a little bit. The format is unlike anything you've ever seen. Yeah, we're going to have 4 riders head-to-head. It's going to be exciting. So there we go. Great show there to kick off broadcast competition from stop number 2 on the Crankworx World Tour. That was the Specialized Dual Slalom Whistler. Congratulations to Bernard Kerr taking the gold medal for the men, and Vaea Verbeek taking that gold medal for the women. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you back tomorrow for the Ultimate Pump Track Challenge.